End of college application season. And with more options than most applicants will even know about, institutions need to be creative with how they reach out to prospective students, PhD candidates, the like, even faculty. They need to sell themselves to the faculty that will teach the classes for the students that are coming in. And some are not particularly noteworthy, while others can stick with us for many, many years to come. For instance, St. Edward's University, it's a private Catholic university in Austin, Texas, ran a creative series of billboards while I was in high school, possibly at the end of middle school, but I'm fairly certain it was right in the middle of my high school years. And one near my high school displayed ants carrying food back to their colony. And superimposed in the foreground was a student sitting at one of those chair desks that probably many of us have sat in, with large text that read, "Study Supply Chain Analytics." Yeah, it's thoughtful, certainly got my attention. But the most memorable was the one that was on the billboard near the storage facility where my dad ran his electrical company and the vet that we took our pets to. And this ad had the caption, "Study Religions in America." And that might have convinced me to stay in Austin if I had not been so dead set on getting as far away as I possibly could. Because religion at this point in my life was kind of more of an, ooh, neat, rather than I want this to be the focus of my entire being. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I had gone with ooh, neat, because struggling through Japanese literature classes, yeah, it was very difficult. And I probably would have gotten a much better grade if I'd chosen religion. And see, this is because religions do not simply embody what they are describing, but even things like how or where or even when. So seeing a 15-foot tall advertisement of one football player leaping into the end zone while another is trying to tackle them emphasizes that where and when and how of words and language. And I'm sure maybe one or two of y'all in the audience are wondering, like, wait, how can American football, which became its own distinctive sport in the 1880s, how can that be in religion? Okay, what even is a religion? It may surprise you that there actually isn't a single codified definition. We have some good ideas that are in the dictionary, but there's still debate on what actually constitutes a religion. A journal article actually published in 2006 by Dr. Victoria Harrison of the University of Glasgow. It's titled "The Pragmatics of Defining Religion in a Multicultural World." And this highlighted just how difficult it can be to concretely define the term religion. The more precisely we focus on the definition, the more exclusive it becomes. The traditions that began with Abraham could fit a proposed definition, but those from other parts of the world, such as Hinduism or the various indigenous traditions, might be left out, despite the fact that they are practiced with the same sincerity as by their respective communities as Christianity, Judaism, Islam. So embarking on this journey to become a professional within a field, particularly ones that deal with religion, means reviewing the foundation that the work is built upon. And this is easy enough if you go to a seminary where all of the students are of that same clearly defined faith and are intending to go to that same clearly defined job after they graduate. Yeah, I didn't do that. For individuals like myself who attended an interfaith institution with everyone having diverse goals when they came in that changed over time and were probably different by the time they graduated, we needed to come together on a definition that we could all work with. And something akin to what you will find in dictionary.com or the Oxford English Dictionary, we settled on a religion is a system of meaning making bound in a community expressed through ritual behavior to make life bearable or better. Now, this definition doesn't say anything about sacred texts or how you might name the divine, which are things that are often thrown about when people want to referee somebody else's life using religion. It actually opens up the possibilities of what can bring us together, what we can believe in, and what can get us through the day. Now, rituals themselves, before we go on, is a prescribed action crafted with meaning and intention that is acted to affirm or strengthen someone's role in a community. That one actually has more of a codified definition, but this is what we worked with while we were going through the various worship classes or counseling classes while I was at seminary. So by this definition, American football absolutely can be thought of as a religion, as it was reported by ABC in 2014 about how the lives of people in Texas center around it. Now, having grown up through that, I can very much affirm how much of my childhood actually revolved around football, even though I was not directly involved in it, and how shocking it was when I moved to Washington State and experienced football season that was nothing like what I expected. And even still, super fans of Disney can actually meet the definition of religion. As Professor Jody Eichler Levine of Lehigh University has pointed out in an article that ran last October through various sources, because people go to celebrate their birthdays, they have their weddings and propose to one another. People have even had their memorials through Disney. Now, I have emphasized sports today, an activity that requires skill and leads to physical exertion, primarily because it's more accessible. I live about an hour away from one of the Disney locations, but I can't afford the time or the money to go. Whereas I can find a fitness group within a stone's throw of my house that fits my schedule and desires. And I probably don't have to pay anything depending on what the club is. Same for my spouse who has a physical limitation. She can find something that fits her desires and schedule. And sports has been a ritual that connects me to my communities as I've moved about in the world. Lacrosse grounded me through my high school years. Rowing connected me with college when I moved away and everything was completely different. After I joined the Army, I scrummed on a rugby pitch. And sometimes these aspects that bring us together in communities that are not what we originally grew up with, these imagined communities, as Benedict Anderson described in the titled book, they give us meaning to make life bearable as we move out. And for emphasis, when my mother passed away, sports was what got me through that time. And I continue on in her memory. Because the only cancer that we should actually think about that actually should be meaningful to us is right after midsummer, the season of cancer when we should probably be out on beach, which is where I wish I was some days, but I'm too busy. And the Olympics, that is often held up as the paramount of sports. Many people throughout the world may not know what American football is, but they recognize the 5 rings. They recognize the various symbols and theme songs. They have a sport, whether it be in the winter or the summer, that will be played in the Olympics. And for those of us that have actually sat through some of the broadcasts or even attended an Olympics in person, we can very much see some of the ritual aspect that actually goes on, more so than what we see when we go to a local football game or a baseball game. And if I didn't know any better, I'd swear that UU's created the Olympics. I mean, we light a giant cauldron at the beginning of it. We affirm values that we hold together for the Olympics. It is values of sportsmanship and fair play. And then at the end of it, we extinguish that cauldron, but we tell everybody, not just the athletes and the coaches and staff, but also people around the world, that this cauldron, even though it has gone out, we need to carry that light again throughout the next 4 years until we relight it in a new location. As the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach said, actually, at the 2020 Olympics, this solidarity fuels our mission to make the world a better place through sport. Only because of this solidarity can we be here together tonight. Without solidarity, there is no peace. These are some of the rituals that have been drawn up by others to create a larger community that will carry on not only for today and tomorrow, but for many years to come. These are the languages that they have developed to speak to these deeper truths as they see them in a way that is accessible to all. Now, what's this say about our actual UU communities? Because the UU congregations are themselves imagined communities. Some of us may be actual family tied together by marriage or blood or however you define family. But many of us have created that community together through rituals, through a shared covenant, but we aren't actually together in the way that other types of community are defined, similar to the Olympics. And with our communities, our UU congregations, there are those that move about because that's their job, or because another job tells them to move across the country. And so we find those other places that share that same language and we join them. And recently, Honolulu has had somebody join their community. And so sharing in that language has allowed Reverend Dr. Greg to actually join in your community in a way that does not require a lot of explanation. He's already familiar with lots of the rituals, lots of the shared history that we have, and he's able to act on that. And even more so, just as a coach joins a team that is already in progress and works to make them better, taking the pulpit now, he's asked you to perform those same rituals that you may be familiar with, as well as new ones, to build a better community for tomorrow. to expand who we are, both in breadth by growing the community, but also depth. That Unitarian Universalism is a faith deeply rooted in our spirit. We are not just saying parts of our worship just because that's on the order of service. We are saying it because we believe it, because we want to be tied to this land, to this people, and we want to make this life, today, tomorrow, and many to come, more bearable, to make them better. Noon Shui, and blessings be.